Hi, welcome to Project Knit. I'm Julie. In this video we are going to be making a cup cosy. So it's going to look like this. This fits on just like a standard UK cup, and it just is knitted all as one. So it just goes all the way round and then buttons up on the side. This is suitable for absolute beginners. It actually teaches you the very beginning basics of knitting, so how to cast on, how to knit, how to make a buttonhole, how to cast off, all covered in this video, so you don't need to know how to do anything. You will need some yarn, so you need double knitting, or DK it'll be called, yarn, and the reason why you need that size is to make sure that your stitch count and everything is right, otherwise it won't quite work for you. So you need double knitting yarn. I quite like to use cotton for cup cozies or for things that are warm. It tends to just fall quite flat and makes it easy to wash, and it doesn't get any like warped by heat or anything like that. I've actually used King Cole's bamboo cotton for this, so it's a cotton bamboo mix, and that bamboo gives it just like a little bit of stretch and kind of makes it like nice and smooth. So with cotton there's no stretch at all, and that can be quite difficult to knit with, depending on what you're used to or if you've done it before. So this one is in colour Truffle, which is this nice gold colour. Actually just comes in so many colours, really nice yarn. So this is what I'm using for this. And then you're going to need some knitting needles. You need 4mm knitting needles to make this, so you need to get hold of some of those, and you're going to need 3 small buttons. I've actually already put mine on, but you can see I've got these little cute little wooden bears on mine, so they're just quite small buttons to go on there. Okay, so we're going to start off with a cast on, and I'm going to be using long tail cast on for this, just because I've done other videos on it, so there's other ones that you can look back on if you need to kind of review it. So when you've got your long tail cast on, you are leaving enough space here to do most of the row, or pretty much the row. So we're going to go for about this, and we'll see how that goes. I normally end up leaving too long a tail, but that's not really a problem if you have too long a tail. If you have too short a tail, you'll have to start again. So we take the yarn and you wrap it around your fingers twice. So you're crossing it over here at the back, turning it over, and then you've got 2 lines of yarn. So take it here in these fingers like this, wrap it round, you've got your 2 there. We're going to go with the needle, we're going to go under this one, and we're going to take that and pull it over and then under this one. Okay, so just one more time I'll show you that. So I found this bit quite tricky when I was first starting out. So we're crossing it over at the back. We are taking our needle, we're going under this one here. We're pulling it over to go under there. And then we're just pulling that up firmly onto the needle. Then you've got 2 bits. You've got your bit that's not attached to anything and your bit that's attached to the ball. So from there, we're taking the one that's attached to the ball. We're going to wrap it around our thumb, and you're going to take the needle and put it under that loop. So around there and under that loop. And then you're taking the one that's not attached to anything, and this one we're going to wrap round the needle. And then you're going to take this loop that's on your thumb and you're just going to push it off the edge of the needle. So there you go, we are up to 2 stitches there. So we're going to wrap it around our thumb. We're going to put the needle under that loop there. We're going to wrap it round and we're going to push it off the edge. You want to pull them so they're quite firm, but you don't want them to be too tight, because otherwise you will struggle to get your needle through. So again, through there, wrap it round and push it off. Okay, so you can see here we've got a nice even row forming, nice even cast on forming there. And that's what we're aiming for it to be kept nice and even. So you don't want it to be different sizes throughout. So where have we got here? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. So we are going for 18 stitches here. I think I've not left enough cast on. So just keep going. Oh, I can feel the regret. Am I going to make it? It's like yarn chicken. Right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Ooh, I'm not sure I'm getting 5 out of that. Let's see. 14, 15. Leave a longer tail. 16. Move this up the needle to make it a little bit easier. Just going to double count because I think I've got one more to go. Yeah, one more. We're going to do it. We've made it. With a very short tail there. So there we have our 18 stitches on the needle. The shorter this gets, the kind of more like fiddly it is to do, so it is worth leaving a little bit more space than I did when you're doing this. Okay, so now we're just going to start with the actual knitting on it. Okay, so now we're going to start knitting. Now we're making this in garter stitch, which is just a really great beginner friendly stitch. So this is a brilliant project to start with. It's quite small but also quite quick to learn. So we have got a needle with our stitches on it in our left hand and a needle with no stitches on it in our right hand. And what we're doing is we're basically moving the stitches from here to here. So start off, put the needle in through the front of that stitch. You can see that tail wants to come out. Let's give it a good yank. Okay, and then we're going to take the long one that's attached to the ball of yarn. We're going to wrap that anti-clockwise around the needle. Hold on to that. Then we're going to pull that through and you can see the stitches come through there. And we're going to pull it off the end. Oh my goodness, that tail is too short. Hopefully this isn't happening to you and you have a nice long tail. So we're going to go in through the front. We're going to wrap it round. I'm going to pull that through there. You see the stitch there, and then we're going to push it off the edge. So in through the front there. The first few stitches always feel a bit loose, and we just, I'd say for the first 3 stitches, just pull both the short tail and this one just to keep it nice and firm. So even if hopefully your short tail is not as short as mine and you've got quite a bit of space, just give it a little pull each time just to make sure that they are staying nice and firm up against that needle. So we pushed it in through the front. So we should see it cross over there at the back. We take the yarn with the ball, wrap it round, pull that stitch through, and then pull it off the edge. So in through the front, you might find like what I've got here. Sometimes that first row can be a little bit tricky to get your needle through, because sometimes our cast on rows are quite firmer. Because I was running out of space on my long tail, I did pull it a little bit tighter than I probably would do normally. So sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to get it through. That will get easier on subsequent rows. Let's push it through, wrap it around, pull that stitch through there, and then push it off the edge. In through the front, wrap it anti-clockwise, pull the stitch through, knock it off the edge. So just keep this yarn here, like so. How you hold this is really depends on what's comfortable for you. I normally actually wrap it around my little finger and then around this one. It doesn't really matter. There's not really a right or wrong way of holding it. It's just really, you just want to make sure you're keeping your tension even throughout. So that's why you're just trying to pull it quite firmly. But if you don't throughout the stitch, as long as you give it a good sort of nice firm tug as before you turn it without pulling it too hard and making it tight, then it will do what you need it to do. Just wrap it around, pull it through, push it off, and we are almost at the end of this first row. Last couple of stitches. Oh, my first ones were tight. Okay. Through and off. Okay, so we've got something like this for our first row. And then you literally just take the one that's in your right hand that's now got all of the stitches on, you're going to move that over to your left hand. And we're going to start again. Now, one thing that's really important when you're starting your next row is that this yarn is at the back of your work. Now, if it's at the front and you start wrapping it around both needles, you'll start gaining stitches and potentially getting holes as well. So you're going to push it through here. The yarn should be at the back of your work here for you to start the next one, and it should always be there at the back. So you can see on this row now, it's much easier for me to get my needle through. That first row, just always for me a little bit tricky because I think I cast on a bit tight in general. So once you've done that one, it gets easier. So we're just going to keep going, always keeping that yarn there at the back. All the way to the end. You should start to see your stitch pattern forming really. As I said, this one's just a garter stitch, so it's just going to be the same all the way through. Both sides there a little bit of a tug. You can see that it's starting to come through this. So you're always going to have these little bumps. These bumps are part of the knit stitch. When you do garter stitch, those bumps are always at the back. So you'll have them come up the back here, and the back here, and you'll see it create this pattern, which I will, I'll do a few rows, and then I'll show you what that's starting to look like, so you can make sure that yours is looking how you're expecting it to look. Okay, so hopefully everything's going well, and your cup cozy is looking like this. It's both sides are the same. And you just we're just going to keep going. Right, so when our knitting is measuring about 25 centimetres, we are going to add some buttonholes. So I actually added some further down here so you can kind of see what they're going to look like on this swatch. So you can see we've got the buttonholes like this, a nice open round ones, nice and easy to use. So we are going to start off by knitting 2 stitches as normal. Then we're going to take our yarn and we're going to move it to the front of our work. So previously all the way along we've been making sure it stays at the back, but now we're moving it to the front just for this one stitch. So bring it to the front, and then what we're going to do is go through the next 2 stitches, so both of those together as though they're one stitch. I can get my needle through. So make sure they've gone through 2 and then through the back as normal, but it's just gone through 2 stitches instead of 1. And then this yarn here that's on the front, we're going to wrap all the way around, and then we'll push both of those stitches off. And then going to knit 5 more normal. Like that. And then we're going to take the yarn again, bring it to the front, and again we're going to go through the 2 stitches. We've got 1, 2 here. We're going to go through both of those and wrap it all the way around, bring it through. Then we're going to do, I want to leave 2, so we're going to do another sorry, excuse me, and 3, yeah, 3, sorry, my count is clearly not great today. 1, 2, 3, bring it to the front, go through the 2 stitches. That's making our last buttonhole. Oh, that's not gone through properly. Bring it to the front, go through the 2 stitches. Like that. And then 2 more. And those are in there. You can kind of see them. A bit difficult to see right next to the needle there. So then we're just going to do a couple more rows, and then it will cast off. So you should see those come through. So where you get to the where we went the yarn over the needle, you can see that it's left, it's like, it looks like this on it. Now if ever you are knitting and you see that and that's not been done intentionally, then that's going to leave a hole in your knitting, and it means that you've accidentally pushed the yarn to the front. But on this time it is intentional, so we're just going to knit it like a normal stitch. Keep going, we'll get to the next one. Again, you can see it doesn't have a stitch there, but that's fine, it's intentional. We want there to be a hole there, so that's good. Should cut to one more in just a sec. Okay, and then you can see your buttonholes there. Right, so we're going to do another 2 rows. There'll be 3 rows after the buttonholes, and then I'll show you how to cast off. It's time to cast off. So after you've done your buttonholes, I would leave at least 4 rows after that. If you leave more, it will just give a bit more of an overlap, so that's fine anyway. But just leave at least 4. So what we're going to do to cast off, first off we knit 2 stitches as normal. Okay, and then we're going to take the first stitch, put the needle under it, and if you pull this yarn a little bit but not too hard, pull it a little bit, it will keep that second stitch firm, and then you're going to lift that stitch over the top and drop it off the needle. So then we'll do that again, knit another stitch, take the first stitch, pull it over and drop it off. So you've got 2, take the first one, pull it over, drop it off. And we just do that all the way along by casting off like this instead of just, you know, taking it off the needles. This leaves a like a hem kind of thing on the other side so that it doesn't unravel. Just gonna get all the way to the last stitch, doing the same thing. Okay, and I've just realised I don't have any scissors to hand, so I'm going to have to grab some. So once we get to the last ones, you can see we're going to get to a point where there'll be one on there, but nothing to lift it over, right? So the last stitch from here, you lift that one over, and that's going to leave us with this. I'm just going to grab some scissors and I'll cut this and then I'll show you how to thread it through. Okay, so we've got 1 stitch left on the needle and we've cut the end of the yarn. If you pull it like this, you can see it gets really loose. So that's basically what we're going to do. So all of your stitches are here, on your needles here. I'm going to take this yarn, I'm going to pull this stitch down a little bit, leave a bit of space, and you're just going to push the end of the yarn through that gap. So you put that up there against the needle like that. I'm going to take the needle off. I'm just going to pull it tight, and there we have it. So obviously this was the end of my swatch, so this is the actual one. So you can see there you've got the nice clear edge with the buttonholes underneath it, and then we're just going to attach the buttons and finish it off. So now the next thing we're going to do is add the buttons. So choose your right side, because with garter stitch like this, it's the same on both sides. You can just choose the side that you like the look of the best. And bear in mind it's going to be wrapped around like this. So I'm going to go this way. No, I'm going to go this way. Don't know why, just prefer it. So what we're going to need to do is going to need to try to line these buttons up. Now we want them towards the edge. We've got one here, So this one's the one that's like 2 stitches in. So you get a couple of stitches in. It's not right on the edge. It's like my little bear buttons. Cute, hey? So yeah, it's not right on the edge. And then we're just going to sew those buttons on. So here we have our finished sleeve with the buttons on and the buttonholes there. So we can take a mug with your lovely cup of tea in it. We're going to do the first button up here at the bottom, and that's going to slide under the handle, and then we're going to do the next one here in the middle, and then the top one here also goes under the handle, and that's to keep that top bit free, because otherwise you can't actually drink from it, if you see what I mean. So there you have your completed sleeve for your mug to keep your tea nice and warm while you're doing your knitting, or while you're watching the kids in the garden, or whatever it is that you're doing that you need to keep your tea warm for. So hope you've enjoyed making that with me, and I hope you enjoy your new hobby.